And joining me now for more on this is Jeremy Rosenthal. He is a trial attorney and founding partner of Rosenthal, Calabas, and Therian. Good morning, Jeremy. It's really good to see you. So let's start with this. As of now, just 2 out of about, let's say, 400 other officers have been indicted. Do you think this is the beginning of more charges that could be coming towards the other officers?
Potentially, and there's a lot of inner politics here at play. At first, the state was kind of pointing a lot to the local authorities in Uvalde. But there's been a lot of questions for the Texas Department of Public Safety. They're the statewide agency. They kind of view themselves as sort of the Marine Corps of law enforcement in Texas. And they had a very big role in this response. They made some very controversial decisions. Perhaps the indictments stop with these 2 local police officers, but maybe they start bleeding into the Texas Department of Public Safety. We don't know that quite yet.
So talk to me more about those intricacies or those connections and inner politics and how that could affect maybe other charges or what other things could be coming.
Well, first off, you have a community that is obviously not healed. And there is a ton of anger, which is fully understandable in this situation. And I think the message from the grand jury is very clear, and that is protect our children. The idea that I'm a nice guy, I'm a nice police officer, I didn't want this to happen, I did my best, that's not going to work. What will work for officers is getting the proper training, following the proper training, and being aggressive when it comes to these types of shooters. Officers everywhere who are watching and paying attention to this are hopefully getting that message that, look, we expect you to protect our children. And if you haven't been, all of them are wearing body cameras. The police now more than ever have the investigative ability after the fact to really piece this thing together. And if you're not protecting children, then don't take the oath.
Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, situations like this also seem quite rare. Also, for a police officer to then be charged with a crime because of the misjudgment, let's say, how significant is this case? Would there be a precedent?
There's no precedent for it so far. Tragically, school shootings are. We always hope that anytime we hear it, it's the last one. But tragically, they haven't been. But again, I think that law enforcement needs to pay attention, that we can debate weapons, we can debate the Second Amendment all we want. The one constant is that police have the duty and the obligation to protect the people that they serve, and the most vulnerable population being the children. So again, a very clear message being sent that, look, the state, the police, they're going to provide the training, they're going to think twice, measure twice, cut once, the old Carpenter's rule, with their plans and their ideas of how to stop these active shooter things. And you better do that stuff, because in this instance, I think a lot of the investigation points back to not following the training that they had been given, not following the protocols that they had been given. So it's not just bad judgment. It is a failure to do what you were trained to do.
Right. Now, let's look into, because what do you think how does this case stack up, and what could Arredondo and Gonzalez, what could they be looking at if convicted?
These are both felony offenses. In Texas, those are third-degree offenses, which carry a punishment range between 2 and 10 years of prison. I don't know that they're necessarily looking at prison time, but they would absolutely lose their ability to ever be law enforcement again. Felony convictions are just something you don't want to have. You don't want to have to deal with it in your life. So these are very serious charges, and child abandonment, child endangerment is not something that looks good on a resume, regardless of what it is that you're trying to do. Obviously, there is a lot of anger here. And again, this is a community that is still clearly not healed from this. You would expect, if these gentlemen stand trial, there's going to be a lot of emotional testimony. There's going to be a lot of emotional video. If I'm their lawyers, I'm telling them that I don't think prison is really in the equation, but you never know with these types of emotions anything could really happen, and these guys could wind up behind bars.
Understood. Also, a lot of revisiting that they would have to do and reliving. Well, thank you so much, Jeremy Rosenthal, for weighing in on this and sharing your insights. I appreciate it.
Have a good morning.